What's going on, everybody? It's Dev here. Coach B, you know who it be.
What's popping?
It's another groggy day in Pennsylvania. It's been raining. Feels like it's never gonna stop raining. Last summer was the same way, and I keep feeling like it's gonna be that way this year, where it's just gonna be wet and wild all summer
Fucking
long.
global warming, bro. You better get out there.
It's climate change, man. It's climate change. We're
You
gonna
better
be.
get out there and do what you got to do to save the planet, man.
I just gotta start breathing in more carbon dioxide for the rest of the world.
Get some windmills. That'll
No,
help.
those cause cancer though. Windmills cause cancer, so we can't get those.
Speaking of this, dude, that's gonna be kind of funny though coming up in the future. This election time coming up is gonna be fucking hilarious, bro. You can already see it coming. Everybody's gonna act stupid and just it just
The memes are gonna be off the charts.
yeah.
The me
People, you know how when that say like when they make something funny out of a meme or as something and it says the internet never loses or the internet wins again.
the internet is
It's gonna
undefeated.
the internet's undefeated. It's gonna go crazy out here this election because people are with it. You know, they're like, hey, that's how we won. We have to do this. So
We have to because we have to clown everybody. I feel like that's our duty as people of the internet. We have to clown
do
consistently.
something. If you catch me slipping, clown me all, clown all day because nobody's off limits. Nobody.
Clown, please, clown, clown,
You know,
clown my whack freestyles. Clown,
you're
make
whack for
freestyle.
yo, bro. What was on your mind when you were doing it?
Oh well, like we were okay. If anybody
What
doesn't
the
know, I
fuck
did a
was on your
freestyle
mind?
Friday where I was like, what was on my mind? I was feeling really good. I was freestyling with a buddy of mine, my buddy Sasha, and then this other guy I just met named Chris. And Chris looks at me and goes, "Bro, you should just go live right now and do one." And I was like, "Okay, like why not? Like it doesn't really, you know." But I was but like as I was doing it, I almost got like nervous because I'm like, I've never really done a live stream where I did this before, and I really would have liked to add a better sound quality and stuff to it. But yeah, it was what it was. Going through my mind though, it was just like, make some words rhyme together and try and make it sound cool. Pretty much was where it's at. But on a beat I never heard
No,
before,
it's just
neither.
hilarious to me because I grew up in this era, watching it grow and people into where it is at this point. At probably even around what 22 now,
Yeah, 22.
21, 22 years old. At 22 years old is when um probably it became started to become where people were like, oh, it's gonna be here for you know what I mean? So in this era, you probably like your generation have never seen like how that shit came about, how it developed, and it's just weird knowing coming from the era that I come from. Like if
Mm.
a person tried something and that's not what they did, in the rap, they would get. I
Mm.
mean, it would go silly with it, but it's just different how you see it nowadays, where everybody would be like, do it. You know what I mean? It's
Do
a
it anyway.
huge part of the fucking culture now. Before back there, like that shit ain't gonna last.
Yeah. Well,
Now
well,
it runs the fucking industry.
yeah. What I say is like those guys that just pop in and pop out, you know.
Yeah,
And but
I don't fuck with that shit. I don't take nobody serious if that's not what the fuck. I was doing that shit when I was like 13 and was doing that shit. Like shows, recording, selling, going to look for a deal. But back then it was nothing like that, like
mm,
this. Doing all kinds of shit with it. So when I see people play with it and they actually like, you know what I mean? I just be like,
no.
do what you do, but and
Well,
I can't understand what you're doing.
but I'll tell you what. There was that like this one girl who made the. You don't know if you heard that song where she said she made the song "Bitch I'm a Cow." That girl, she made a song where it goes "Bitch I'm a cow." Bitch I'm a cow or
Oh,
whatever. It was like this like hip hop thing. But like
uh,
she got famous off this one like goofy ass song that was just like it was basically her just being, she said, "Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Something. I'm not a cat. I
oh, I
don't say
think I
meow. Yeah,
something like
whatever. You know what I mean? But like, she was like a good-looking girl, whatever. She made this like video, and
right.
and just because she made that video, she got like people from like Spotify and like what the hell is that thing where they do the lyrics? I forget what it's called. Those people were like hit her up and were like, "Oh, come on our show," and like she had like appearances on like all this stuff, and it's like. Same with that "Horses in the Back" song. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the culture we're in now, where like these people could just make like these I'd call them one hit wonders, but it's like these random songs, and like you could just get famous off of that one song.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
Do what you do. It's just one of those things like you got to take. I think a lot of people to it, like the little Zans, even Post Malone gets
Mm.
it. Like, you know what I mean? People are just like you know, people that are from that culture, grew up, know the history of it. When somebody like just hops on and does that, but that's through a lot of work of the back in the days of people putting in position where it's like, and then that get the internet and YouTube just opened up the gates where everybody can find their, you know what I mean,
Their
their
niche.
audience.
And
Yeah.
also, there was always people. I bet you back in the day, there was always people doing it, but no one ever heard those names because eventually they just stopped doing it the same way. But now we just have the internet where we can go back and see. Look what he was doing 2 years ago. Look at him
Yeah.
making those goofy ass videos or whatever. But
Like
back then, you
people
couldn't
like
see
a
that.
Black, like the, you know, the singer Black, he sings R&B, but really dude can rap his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he was doing. But the lane opened up for him to do the R&B type, mellow
Stuff.
type, and he ran with it. And now he's huge in it, you know. So I ain't mad at nobody. Do what you gotta do. I'm kind of proud of where it's at. Like when we have conversation with older people, I see people having these conversations. Be like, hey man, that's where no matter you we can decipher what's real and what's people's plan, but look where it's at though. It's the number one genre, and they said it would die. So you
Yeah,
got to
right.
kind of
It's still up, man. It's still up.
it's
Really, I don't see anything that's gonna replace it anytime soon. Like, I don't see this like new wave of music that's coming that, it's like gonna transcend hip hop right now or rap. Like, I don't
those
see it.
beat type chicks. Like the thing you were talking. What were you talking about? Is something like that. Older school will probably, or people that really about it might have a little beef with somebody like
Younger
that.
guys who just like are dabbling in it because they're like, man, look at like I was for real. I was working every day writing like I was writing 50 16s a day and shit like that. And like kid,
Yeah.
then the kid
Yeah.
yeah, in the studio for like hours, and there's just kids that dabble in it. They make like one song, and then like because all the younger guys are like, wow, that's the beat's so fly. I like that. And then they get popular. They're kind of mad about it.
Yeah, there's beef. It brings beef.
Yeah.
Everybody that doesn't like what somebody's is doing is gonna bring some beef.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, for me, like writing this stuff and doing it's like art, where it's just like I mean that's what it is. It's art. So you get to add your own little flair and flavor to the words and everything. You use words and like vocabulary that someone else isn't going to use, most of the time.
Yeah, if you put the have some people able to make a transition and no matter what they're doing into something else because you can't do one thing in life and you know what I mean? You get to me you would get burnt out about it. You got
Yeah,
to
right.
find other ways to, you know what I mean?
Avenues of expression. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's something that they do, you know, I don't care. Just don't get, you know, just don't disrespect the culture. That's the difference between a culture vulture and so something like the country dude.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with it.
No, I
I
agree.
was just like, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I think it brought a lot of people to the table
Yeah,
and
it
sat
did.
down and listened to it. And you got Billy Ray Cyrus came in to help you. You know, a lot of I just seen
Mm.
them. They were at a festival with DMX.
Yeah, DMX of all
There's a
people.
picture, country dude, Billy Ray Cyrus, and DMX. Out there
Yeah.
at some festivals. So
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, me personally, as I've listened to country music when my sisters and them come over, I mean, country it's like almost slowly becoming more poppy. Do you know what I
eh,
mean? It's kind of lost its roots in that
then
sense.
they let fucking Nelly go down there.
Yeah, as soon as they let Nelly go to Florida Georgia Line and sing
Turned it.
Cruise, it's a wrap. They were like, all right, we're evolving now. We're
I,
changing.
I think Nelly's got like three top like country songs, top fives, or maybe even top ones
Really?
to his credit. Yeah, that he wrote, that he helped produce, wrote on, or was in.
That's funny though. That's funny.
Hey, I ain't mad at
I'm
it
not mad, but I just think it's funny.
like me to me where I get creative music, I get it from all kinds of genres. But hip hop is just something that touches the heart. But I listen to all kinds of music. You know what I mean? And the older you are, to be honest, because you didn't have options. I can remember when there wasn't options. You couldn't hear hip hop until like MTV came out with busted out with it before they were all, you know, pregnant or whatever, 21 or with those shows.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get it on no station, bro. You had to call up and pay to play it on this cable station. I forgot what it's called. It was like a jukebox or something like that. I forgot what it's called. I can't believe it. But you call and play whatever song you know came out, and you play it on that. So that's
That's
actually how Jay Z and Dame and them said that's how we got started off to get the money to make a video and to do everything is by putting our song up there and had people just call, and we came up with the money and started the business.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Much funny story. Oh, that's an oldie. That's an oldie story right there. That's a bridging the gap story. So
that's a bridging the gap story right
okay,
there. You
that's
guys
right.
are fucking spoiled right now. You could just go right there and be like, I want to hear this song.
And look it up. Yeah, you didn't have that. There's
Yeah.
so many things we take for granted, but now I want to dabble into this story. So this is something I find interesting and weird. I never thought I'd find myself looking into this. So on Facebook, I'm scrolling through, and all I see is like my chick friends on the Facebook, my girlfriends out here posting about this James Charles, and I know he dabbled in makeup or something. Some guy did makeup, but like I seen all these memes that were being posted about James Charles' career being ended. And there's this girl's face, and it's like I don't know who that girl's face is. Like who is that? And then so finally I got so sick and tired of the meme. I'm like I want to understand what this is all about. So I go and I start doing some research on this James Charles character. So he's like this he's like younger teenage gay guy, and he's like got this big makeup deal, from like CoverGirl and like all these big makeup manufacturers, basically, right?
Mhm.
Now the reason why they're talking about the end of his career is because this dude is getting destroyed because he's well the down okay, so this is the thing I wanted to tell you. He has had the fastest loss of subscribers, he lost the most subscribers in a day in history.
Why?
He lost 400,000. I'm about to explain. So the story comes out. A gentleman, a guy, a straight guy, comes out and makes this YouTube video talking about how James Charles would try to like seduce this guy. Like he would keep saying he's famous and he has money and yada yada yada, and he's trying to get
Uh-huh.
straight guys to have sex with him. And this is on multiple occasions. And from what I hear, also there's rumors. I mean, not confirmed yet, but there's rumors that he's also done that with underage kids or guys, which like he's 19, so it's not like the craziest thing in the world, but 17, 16-year old guys trying to hit him up and say, come have sex with me and stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
the first part about him talking to older people that are age really doesn't matter. He can do whatever he want there, but the younger ones, yeah.
yeah, right. The straight guys, but he was saying the kid posted the video saying that like he's trying to be, and what it is like a lot of the people in the culture are about that whole the consent versus the harassment thing. Where like if a girl says no, she means no. Same way with they're trying to keep that standard the same. Where like if a guy says no to a sexual advance, then the answer is no. But that's not the biggest thing that really drove him down. What it was there was this girl named Tati. Now Tati is also a big makeup YouTuber. She's a girl. She's like an older woman. She's like 30s, almost to her 40s. She does makeup. She's big in makeup. And her husband, he runs like a bunch of makeup things or whatever. And she basically made James Charles famous by having him on the show, doing makeup tutorials, helping him build his brand. Her husband helped him build his brand and stuff. And what happened was she has a vitamin company. The woman has a vitamin company, Toddy. And James Charles started promoting the competitor to her vitamin company on purpose as a spiteful move. And not only that, at parties and stuff, whenever she would support him and everything, he would say very provocative things in front of her family and everything, like such things as "Look how hot the waiter is," and then she would tell him, James, the waiter's straight, and he'd say, "I don't care, I'm a celebrity," or say things like that in front of like the dinner guests. And then she had to call and apologize to all of her family members at the table the next day and say, "I'm sorry for James's behavior," yada yada yada, saying all these things. And that was the breaking point because Toddy, she's bigger. She's not bigger than James Charles, but I'm not sure who's bigger really. But she basically came out and said, like this guy is doing all of these awful things, and he's speaking on, he's over sexualizing everything and everybody, and she's like, I can't support that anymore, and she feels betrayed because she supported this kid, You know, it basically literally made him. She made him famous by having him on her show when he had nobody and he had no money or nothing.
Right.
Brought her on and took care of him and like promoted him
Gave him the
basically.
shot. Gave
Yeah,
him the shot.
and then
Yeah.
he went and stabbed her in the back by doing that. So she came out and made the video, and he's lost like I think it was in the past. I mean I don't know what the number's at now, but like within that first day he lost 1 million subscribers, of like 1.5 million.
1 million subscribers. Yeah, so she has some pull.
Yeah, she definitely does, and I think that's fair. Like, because she exposed the story and everything, and then James made the video just recently that he apologized, but everybody felt the apology video was contrived. I don't know because I don't know what they were really saying because I watched the apology video or a segment of it and it just was like he just sounded like he was just talking, and I guess that's where they felt it was contrived, like he wasn't actually sorry, which I don't think he was either, but
So it was just him being a younger. He didn't do unless the part about the only part that stands out to me that ain't normal in that industry
mm-hmm.
is the well, it's pretty normal. People just ain't getting caught. But for me to be like, oh, that's the main point is like if he was trying to get at underage kids.
Yeah,
Everything
right.
else is normal.
Right, but a big thing of his a big problem too is the demographic that watches his channel are actually 12 to 13 year olds. Who want to do makeup, whatever. Like, there's boys. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Like, there's like these YouTube unboxings and stuff and React videos series where like there's like this one kid named I think his name's Lucas Vasquez or something. He's like a young little boy, like a young kid, like 10 years old, something like that. And like he puts on makeup. Like the kid wears makeup, and he got so excited wearing the James Charles palettes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They get excited about that kind of stuff. So like he's basically aiming like the young gay kids almost, and he's over sexualizing everything is what they're saying. It's not a good influence on those kids, as a
Mm-hmm.
role model to look up to. And I was like,
Okay,
well,
so yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I'd have to see it, I guess, to see where everybody's probably going to if it's over. Yeah, I mean that's
yeah,
just crazy.
but I mean it's the
That's
respect
his
thing that.
target area.
Yeah, but it's the respect thing too of like they said, like the woman that made him basically made him. He spitefully threw her under the bus and her brand and promoted the other one, even though, like I said, she made him. Which I guess I get it. I mean,
Well, yeah,
those
she
things that can
gave him an
happen.
opportunity, just like everybody. That shit is normal, bro. Like
Yeah,
that part of it is normal. You just don't hear about it enough. I guess she got to the point where she wanted to put it out there, but those people do that all the time. It's normal in that business. Not too surprised about anything like that.
right. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if everybody's in the same market and you have friends, well then you're gonna do that. Like
Yeah,
yeah, like
people.
that market. And you have friends in that market. They're all gonna be promoting different brands, and eventually you're gonna step on the toes of the brand that somebody else is producing.
Or you do it like fuck you.
Yeah, right, right, out of spite.
Because people do that a lot, man. That's a lot of things. Like you just think about when you sit and wondering, like, why haven't these people done songs together? Why don't they do it anymore? Just think of that there, because music's so big that
That's
everybody can relate to it. It's because something happened behind the scenes, some kind of betrayal or some why you rocking with that and I'm doing this or why you didn't come here, shit
mhm.
like that.
That sounds like a lot like Meek Mill and Drake, because Meek Mill and Drake made Amen, and then after Amen, then they had that beef, and then they had like that like those two diss tracks they made against each other, and then after that they got back together and like collabed on a couple of pieces, like after that whole thing was said and done.
It's one of those things, man. People like, especially it sounds like to me, not even knowing what this person is like, but the moves, it sounds like that's was his plan like the whole time. Like, I'm gonna get it, I got this, and I'm just gonna take over. And he's probably got that cattiness, them two, with the what's her name, the Toddy girl. They probably
Toddy,
had so many arguments and cat fight type shit.
right?
I could just imagine it in my brain, and then it turns into that bullshit right there. But that fucking like if his target area, you say so, his ads and his posts and all that are over sex like.
His language, the things he uses, like how he talks and stuff, it's all over sexualized.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So little kids, man, like I don't understand why parents are letting their kids like get on there and do that.
yeah. Well, like it's like that whole. I mean, we talk about that whole thing with the kids nowadays. Like, There's parents that are letting their kids experiment and dabble in like things like that. Say if like their son wants to play with makeup, then they're like, okay, then you can use makeup. You can learn how to do it. And they don't judge that. Do you?
You know, that's weird. Like Charlize Theron, she
Charlize
got
Theron.
that little kid that she adopted from Africa. She's from South Africa, adopted a kid from Africa, and she's getting it big time from communities, and because she let the kid just he's dressing up as a girl, and he's been doing it for a while. But it really came back out. He's a little more older, and he dressing like a girl. And she said, well, that's what he went about, that's what he was interested in. And I just don't see that. To me, like if there's a man around, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's an uncle or a grandfather or a father, you know what I mean? Any kind of man influence on the regular,
Mm-hmm.
that kid is going to gravitate towards that. So I guess what I'm saying is, do we believe that some of that kid? I'm saying for me, I kind of believe that some people that do end up gay is not just all born that way. I think some situations are brought into it. If you're around females all the time, I think that could
Influence it.
influence you, yeah, influencing you on a decision because you would be sucking in all the energy of what females go through in life. You see
Yeah,
what
well,
I'm
I was
saying?
I was saying maybe I don't agree with that point, but I can see what you're saying. Like, they might try and push you towards that because they might think, no, this is what it is, because they're very accepting and sensitive of it. They're not gonna actually push the question, like ask you, like, are you sure you're really like gay, or
No,
do
I
you?
don't even know pushing, bro. Just observing it. Observing me. If you observe, you're in your house with your aunts and grandma and your mom from the time you to you're 18 years old or whatever into your teens and going through puberty, and that's what you see,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be influenced by that. You're going to that all the time. I'm not saying that's going to
Yeah, I
happen
guess you're right.
every
If it
day,
was all the
but I'm
time.
saying it is a big part of where some people it does go to that decision because and all if you really want to get deep into it, like you don't know until you're taught. Like, do you think it's just a natural thing? Like if you were locked in a you were born and you didn't come out until you're 15, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where like you almost need to have like an experiment where like you'd have to like cut someone off from everything and then see like literally like nothing.
See what they
And
would
then see
that's
what they would do without being taught anything because it's hard. Because like from my young age, I grew up with romantic movies and comedies and yada yada yada. So what I mean? Like I'm saying like what would be like your sexual drives? Like you didn't cut off with nothing, right? Like you didn't watch anything, like, and then like you were just given, an opportunity with a boy or a girl,
Yeah, you
like
just come out in like a neutral spot
stay,
and they just follow you, make sure you're safe and just see like an experiment.
right? Like
Just see what you do on how you react to certain things
maybe
and
it'd be a fucked up experiment because you'd basically take a kid from birth and just like cut him off from every fucking thing,
be like
nothing.
I think they already do things like that. And we just don't, and they're
Yeah.
probably doing it for worse. They're saying over in China, that's why when they did that, this brings up an interesting conversation. See, I like when conversations go in interesting direction. When they said when over in China, when they said I think you could only have one child at some point, they had a ban. If you had got pregnant after that, you'd have to give your body, I mean your big body, your baby. They had some kind of law. Don't quote exactly what I'm saying, but if you look into and research, that's overall what it meant. And then they would put these kids into Olympic training centers
Oh
to
wow.
be in the Olympic, be raised to be into the Olympics, which I'm sure they probably had a great life. I don't think there was any no different than the Chinese would treat you, but their focus is saying you're going to be this no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's just like just imagine what we don't know that they're taking kids and because it's very lost, especially even I think today it's so disorganized where kids can come up missing if it's like from birth,
Mm-hmm.
you could come up missing. the system is so messed up, man. It's one of those things that you gotta be careful about it, I guess, out here and the way things are moving, like with the we just talked about the kids being on there. I don't think that's safe at
Well,
all.
kids being on what?
Being on like anything under like I would say you'd have to be like 14 before you should be able to be on like YouTube and just be able to, you know what I mean?
Watch James Charles and
Yeah,
all that
or
stuff.
make a video.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Like I said, because that I mean, it's one of those things though. Like I know it just comes down to a parenting thing, and it's not like a mind control thing. Like you shouldn't legislate it, but it just parents should do you know better with that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, they gotta look into it. You gotta think about that. I think you get influenced about everything. Even when you're taught something, you get influenced soon as you go out on your own. On you know what the way it is, whether it was, okay, I grew up and watched my dad do crimes all the time. You know the crime. Now when you go out there, you decide whether you're going to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right, right,
it'd be a pretty high number if you saw somebody do it something all day and you ended up doing it. It wouldn't be like, oh my
right.
god, it'd be like right in the average.
Right, yeah, probably too because I mean you're there. I mean you experience it. You have experience with it, so it makes it easier to deal with and do. Do you know what I mean? Like for me to start drug dealing would be weird because I've never been really around drug dealing. Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
Like so you know what I mean? Like there it'd be hard for me to like really be into it or be good at it or like not have like emotional confliction with it. Like you know what
You're
I
right.
mean? Where I'd be like, yo, like I feel
I
like
got
shit. I'm
that
just ruining.
stack.
I'm ruining this guy's life. But like another, but someone who's like lived around his whole life, it's like they might rationalize it like nah, like he made the choice. He bought the drugs. He ruined his own life. He's like I'm just selling it to him.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
a
might be
true.
easier for them to do.
That's
Yeah.
an easy influence one though in neighborhoods. That's very influential. Watching it. That's why I truly believe that. Like what we were originally speaking about the is like the influence. Like I think you get influenced in that manner. I'm not saying everybody because they could have uncles around, but I think around if you were around, and I see this a lot, bro. I've seen it in my years growing up watching that uh, some of the siblings were, some of the siblings weren't. I've seen it with my own eyes. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, so was that person? I asked myself that. Was that person originally gay? Would that person been undercover and hid it for a while when they growing up? Did this help them come out or what? It's just one of those things. Like, I don't think they'll ever be able to figure that out. Do you think so? Like,
I
with
don't
some
know.
scientific test or something?
It'll probably come. It'll probably come from is like it's gonna be a bunch of like social studies, like behavioral study things, where like they're gonna have to like go into families of like of gay, kids and then talk to, or just gay people in general,
Hmm.
and conversate with them like, how did you become gay? What was your
What did you
story?
see? What
Yeah,
did you
what did you
see
see?
there? Or
Yeah,
what
right.
happened?
Explain to me the process. Like like how did you find out that you were this way? And and for some, I very well believe that the story is going to be that they always knew, but they just kind of suppressed it. You know what I mean? Like some are going to be like, yeah, I always knew, but the other part, I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah,
there's going to be the influence.
it could be something like that. Like, I've been around it a lot where I knew somebody, they wouldn't say it. They'd have girlfriends or they'd hide it, and then it would come out, once they got, you just kind of let them be, especially somebody you really know or grew up with or family or something. You just let them be until it comes out, but you already know. It's just one of those things that I I don't know. It's very tricky. Very tricky. I try. I sit and think about it for a minute and be like, "Yo, why you even trying to figure this out? It doesn't really matter." You know what I mean? But just curious.
Yeah. Well, it's what's in the water. They got that stuff in the water that's turned the frogs gay, and that's how
I
we got
seen that. They said, "Who was that?"
Alex
What's
Jones. That's Alex
Alex
Jones.
Jones?
There's
Yo,
water.
Alex
They're putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. That's what he
Do you have
said.
to just watch when he rants, yo? I think he's gonna die right there, yo. It's so hilarious, yo.
I'm
I don't think
coming.
paying
I'm a
attention to him. I just laugh at the
yeah
way he wigs out.
yeah because he just starts saying like crazy shit. I'm a man. I'm coming. We're gonna defeat you, scum. He'll say shit like that. You just be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? He's entertaining.
Alex is that dude, man. And everybody, like, people came out and spoke with him. Like, a lot of the people, like, they're like, he's right about a lot of what he's saying. But when he goes off into the fucking right field, it just crashes the whole fucking plane. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, but it's just hilarious when people rant like that, man. And there's not too many of them that can do it.
Whoa. Yeah, so speaking of crazy things, let's talk about Siraj Wahaj. At it again. Back at it. So if anybody doesn't know, we had a story like what it was probably, God, how many months ago was it? Like, was it last summer or maybe it was like this, like
Nah,
fall?
it's January. Just
January?
January. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this um De-
December.
December, November, December. Yeah, you're right. You're right. November, December.
Yeah, November. I think I want to say
Uh-huh.
November. And Siraj Wahaj was part of this, basically a compound that they built out in New Mexico. And they had this plot of land, and they had basically built this place where they allegedly weren't training terrorist kids, but then the kids confessed they were being taught, like how to shoot up schools and all these other things, and then they were put on trial. But Mr. Siraj Wahaj was found again in Alabama with another compound, basically making a place for a compound where kids can learn to basically be terrorists again. Teaching them same exact thing that happened in New Mexico. Now, we say fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I think that's one of those situations where I have to say, like, man, like you guys weren't keeping a close enough eye on them. Now, you said something earlier before we started the show that you were like, well, maybe there's a reason behind it. And I think it might be the same thing I'm thinking. Do you think there's a reason they let Siraj walk and then just go back out and then do this again?
Yeah, it could have been two different things. It could have been like he was just getting his due process and he just ended up into something else. He made bail or whatever, and he just ended like I'm gonna keep pushing forward, and they just followed him and looked at it. Or they said to him, "Look, what else do you know that's going on? We're going to help this go away for your family. You got to do some work for us because you can't combat anything without snitches like police and drugs and especially in terror. You're going to use a lot of snitches and you're going to let a lot of their crimes slide to try to catch, open up the dragnet, try to
Yeah,
catch more people.
more criminals, yeah, or the bigger ones. Well,
Yeah, the bigger ones. Like he might have had some information saying this is who has us doing this, and that could be on their list, or it couldn't have been on the list. Like, oh, new person, let's go get them.
yeah, and
Could have been anything
and
like that.
I'm thinking that's probably what it has something to do with.
But also, it just shows how if he was arrested, it could have been that too, and he was off doing something anyway, trying to play double defense, playing both sides, just doing
Mm,
whatever. That's you know what I mean, and got
satiate.
caught. But if he was in that mode doing that for FBI or whatever, and then got caught and doing that, that just shows you another thing too, that like how our um, policing interact with each other. They really don't interact and tell anything necessary that they're doing unless it's like the president is coming, we have to sit on, you know what I mean, or a big serial killer, a bombing or something like that. But undercover work, they don't really talk too much. So that means maybe Alabama State Police busted them, and the feds are like, "Yo, they're probably having an argument about it because they don't talk." So could be anything that why that happened.
Yeah, because I mean, why would if someone like Siraj, why would he even be allowed to cross state borders if you think about it? Do you know what I mean? Like when something like that happens, usually like yeah, like stay in the state. You know what I mean? Like you can't go nowhere. Like we need you here because we're gonna
Yeah,
convict you.
like
Like
why'd you do it? We need to know your knowledge. We got you. That was something that probably hasn't happened in a long time that made the news like that, right?
yeah.
Like,
Well, no, it was pretty covered up. That's the thing is this whole story was pretty covered up. Like remember whenever we pulled it up, I only knew about it because I had a friend of mine who was conservative that was posting about it, how no one was reporting on the story. And then
mhm.
we looked into it. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, still, like, is anybody talking about this now? Like, the same guy that was down in New Mexico is doing it again in
Yeah,
Alabama? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I have
That
full faith though. I think we have, besides out all my weird conspiracy theories and stuff, I have full faith that our they do a good job in tracking stuff like that down, and probably a lot of the things that we don't know about that was about to happen.
have been
You know what I mean?
stopped, and they don't tell you because there's no need. There's no reason for anybody to need to know what they
Right.
stopped,
Yeah.
from happening. So yeah, I see what you're saying there. Um, what about now? This is something that I don't know much about, but you know, Aisha Curry's comments. You said something about Aisha Curry. That's Steph Curry's wife.
Yeah, I mean, it was a split. To me, it was interesting on how people were splitting on it. It was like half, like you know how your news feed goes. You can pretty much, if once you see something, you can say how this guy's gonna react to it, what he's going to comment, or you know what I mean. You can, after seeing your news feed for so much and interacting with people, you already know what's going to happen. Like when this something comes out, like if it said anything else, like the Jussie Smollett situation, I could tell who was gonna say, "Oh, he didn't do that," or I could tell, "Man, that motherfucker." He da 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 da. You just know who's gonna comment what. So when this came out, she basically was like, um, she went on Will Smith's wife's the Red Table or something like that, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
called, with Jada Smith and her mom and Willow. I guess it's all their little space to talk, get on and build something. And she was on there and she said something in the effect that she feels kind of like she doesn't feel wanted or pretty if she doesn't get the attention from other men. And
What?
I
Wait. What do
was
you mean? Like she's saying basically that I don't feel loved unless I get it from other men. Like she needs affection from other men that aren't Steph.
I don't think, nah, not affection. Not She isn't talking anything
Attention.
sexual. Yeah, attention, just being like, so you imagine like a girl goes through her day. It's normal shit that happens. Like a guy will say something to her, or and somebody that comes into her path every day, like maybe where she works at, it might be like a mailman that's always saying little slick stuff, but she just like passes off, but it really makes her feel good.
Mm-hmm.
That type of stuff. You know what I mean? And she feels like she wasn't getting it. Now, my issue with it, like if it was me, I can only say how it would be with me. Like, did they drag that out of her? Did they like tell her before the cameras were on and she was probably talking about that? And then did they get her to say that without talking to her husband before she says something like that? Especially, you
Mm-hmm.
know, his high profile and stuff that's going on, he's in the playoff run. I mean, just some things that I would be like, yo, I wouldn't be, I'd be upset and curious, like, why you didn't talk to me before? Or was it something that her and Steph had a conversation about? And he said, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it because he's supporting her. But a lot of people were back and forth with it. I was confused on people's answers. Like some people are like, yo, that means that Steph's not treating her right. Maybe he got caught. And that's what she was
Mm-hmm.
saying. But also, it shows one thing too. Like, if you figure in that light, Steph's celebrity, the money that they have, they're in a certain group of people. They're not around everybody, any Joe at all. They're around a group of people that they do business with, they play basketball with, or, stuff like that, family. So it could be she's not getting attention because the people know you're married and they respect your guys' marriage.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it could be one of those things because they're not just around average Joes like me and you would be out here,
Yeah.
where
Right.
would that would I can understand a female saying or coming home and saying, "Yo, I don't get no more comments like how I used to and feel some type of way about it." I totally get it. But if you're in a closed circle, like you got to look like these dudes probably ain't saying that because they respect your husband and they respect
Mm-hmm.
what you got. You know what I mean? So they wouldn't say anything out of pocket.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, it causes a weird dynamic if you think about it, where you have to go. You know, you think about from her perspective. Is it that that she really needs that attention and she's not getting it from Steph, therefore, and she's not getting it from anybody? Is it like making her feel isolated or insecure, like she's not pretty anymore or something?
yeah, something like that.
right. And and like I don't know, there's like a part of me that's almost like well, I mean, maybe he's into you because obviously he's like he's married to you
Has your
and
children,
has your
made
children. You know what I mean?
you're
Like,
a millionaire over
and
10 times.
but that's something that happens in marriages though that you hear a lot about. Is like the people don't put in the effort for each other anymore because
Yeah,
they're committed to each other. It's like so like they don't even have to tell each other. It's like well, I'm with you, right? Like I that would be the reason why I don't say that because like I love you obviously or else I wouldn't have done this. And they feel like they don't need to validate each other anymore. Do you know?
I could see that. You got to, yeah, that would be a big deal where, you know, longevity. Some people just don't need that. I guess it how you blend together and try to work out a compromise between each other's needs and wants, how far you're going to go. And sometimes you're going to get lazy. Like that's your best friend. If you marry somebody, that's your best friend. Whoever
Right.
was your best friend before then is your best friend to that point in life, but now this is your best friend. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of love and respect there, but I allegedly, you know how that stuff goes on with basketball players in the road. This could be a many of things which it wants, but it just struck me to be like, well, how would you feel if your lady did that? Just came out and said something
That's a good question.
like without um talking to you about it. Maybe you're not doing something and she didn't come to you and say, or maybe she has been saying, "Hey, you've been on the road a lot. I'm not, some things you're not telling me I'm pretty anymore." I see a female. I don't knock a female for nothing like that.
Right.
If they go and conversate about it, but if they react on it without having a conversation about it, to me, that's where I would have a problem.
All
Be
right.
like, you didn't talk to me first before you went on a show where 1 million people are going to see that more than
Right.
that and just let it out right there.
Yeah.
I would want to find out what's going on. That
Well, I'm gonna say let me slide on my Steph Curry shoes here. Let me put on my Curry threes, and we'll talk about this for a second. So if I'm Curry and she conversates with me, and then she goes up on the show and talks about it, it's gonna make me maybe feel like well, I kind of fucked up, like because I'm like, well, clearly, like she's been telling me this. We talked about it, and then I still haven't done enough to basically the point where she's telling people still that like this is how she's feeling.
hmm
So I'm gonna be like almost disappointed in myself. But if she didn't conversate with me, I'm gonna be mad. Because I'm gonna be like, why didn't you just tell me? Like like how you were feeling.
right.
And you know what I mean. And like also it's gonna make me feel like, are you waiting for other dudes to give you attention? Because it's gonna be like, I come home and I don't give you any of that attention that you don't need. I'm not giving it to you, right? And instead of like saying, hey, you're not giving it to me, you're looking for other from other men,
Right.
and like and instead of talking to me about it, you thought it was just easier. Like, I want other men to pay attention to me, and it's like, well, that's gonna put me like on the defensive right away. I think. I think I'm coming home and on the defensive right away, where I'm gonna be like, so what is it like? Because you're saying, because for one, instead of talking to me and asking me about it, and me trying to fix that, you decide to go up on Will Smith's, is that Will Smith's wife's show?
Yeah, Jada
Jada,
Pinkett.
yeah, it's Jada Smith's show, and then you're gonna say that, I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. Like, I'm not gonna be very happy with you, and it's gonna make me maybe not insecure, but it's gonna make me be like, well, maybe you're not as into me. Like, I'm gonna be feeling like Aisha feels.
You saw that's it.
When we
No,
saw it,
but I
be like, you don't you don't want it from me. Well,
you'll believe in me. Oh my god.
you don't love me.
But
You don't think I'm cute.
but in all serious, like in all that, I get it. But it is what it is. Like if she didn't have that's the way it can go. Either like you just said too, if you didn't have the conversation with me before, I would feel like if she had that conversation, yes, I would be like, holy fuck. But I'd still be like, yo, why didn't you come remind me about that? You know what I mean? I think you get like 2 or 3 reminders before you do anything drastic about telling
Jada Smith.
your partner in life before you do any reaction like cheating or going on a show and talking about your house business to 1 million people.
Yeah. Well, imagine. Um,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say. Well, imagine like I mean, imagine finding out that your girlfriend, your wife, was cheating on you like on a show. Like, I mean, not saying that like she is or anything. Aisha is, but I'm saying like imagine like you go on it like she like your girlfriend. She's been telling you that you're not getting the affection or whatever the attention, and then she's like, yeah, I had to go out and cheat on him with other, and it's like you're still married, and it's like what the fuck, that'd be a way to find out you're getting cheated on. Like
Hmm.
what put up on
It's
someone's
crazy.
podcast.
And that's one thing you got to notice when you like I've had past experiences like where like being a busy person where it causes that type of situation with a female. You know what I mean? Because when you get with a female, I mean, but we'll say there's different types, but I think like a majority, I'd probably say about 60%, 70% of females like that type of attention. Even innocently, like a dude, me being a dude, I would never get mad. You always leave that up to the girl for her to say, "Oh, that's a little too far." Definitely not disrespect me in my face, but if it's normal shit, like out and about, if somebody goes too far, the female has to straighten that out. Now, if it goes on to that point, that's where it comes where you have to go handle it and take care of it, make sure you don't be disrespectful to my wife and that type shit. But it's always a thing that a dude, being a dude, I wouldn't be mad. I'm not mad if my girl comes home and tells me, hey, this dude's getting out of hand with his compliments and be like that. I would never be mad at that. I'm going to handle that and be like, you did the right thing, because women like those compliments. It doesn't mean that they're going to cheat on it, but when a guy says, hey, you're looking beautiful today, ma, you're beautiful, as long as it doesn't go too far, you know
Yeah,
what I
right.
mean? So just one of those things that I wouldn't be hearing. And I think that's the manner she's saying it. Like when I go out, nobody's trying gives me the cat calls, the whistles, and
Yeah,
you know,
right.
chick walk past a construction site. Imagine what she hears. You know what I mean? Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
well, that brings up another interesting conversation because like a lot of women like to say they don't like cat calls. They don't like being,
They like it.
like being called out and saying, "Oh, look beautiful." But I always say that like I had this conversation with somebody the other day. It's like yeah, like you said, if they like that stuff. I mean, maybe not to the extent of like basically like you're saying things like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you," like you know what I mean? Like yeah, I'm not gonna like stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it depends.
But
Really depends.
yeah, it depends, I guess. But like I don't think any girl's ever gonna be insulted that you call them beautiful. And usually, some like one of the responses you'll get is like, "Well, I have a boyfriend." It's like, "Well, I didn't say we had to get married. I didn't
You're right.
say we had to go on a date. I was like, you just look good. That's it.
Just
That's all it is to it."
just going that too far, and just being a dude, you got to realize that you got to know right away, like, okay, if I'm getting involved with a girl and you got to have those conversations, man. I think that's where a lot of the communication, another bridging the gap moment.
Right.
Damn, people are not having these communication problems before they react to things nowadays, and that's easy that you can have the conversation and most things are just misunderstandings. Like if you don't know that you're getting with a girl that needs attention, she needs attention from you right then. The minute that you stop giving that attention is going to be an issue. The way that how like when you first get together, they say the honeymoon phase and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and then it slows down. You're in for some trouble. You're in for some trouble when it comes to the relationship in that manner. So you got to know who you're awakening
Yeah, who
to.
you're dealing with, basically.
Yeah, know who you're dealing with before you make those type of like promises and commitments to somebody. I just think it like that. I just think it's not a big deal if it is a big deal if she didn't communicate that, and it's even a bigger deal if Jada and them was able to just drag that out of her
Yeah,
and be
because
like, "You're not going on no more shows."
well, no, I was gonna say like that's pretty messed up. Like Jada and them are like, we're gonna get this out of her. Like bring her on the show. Like we're gonna get this out of her today because she brought up a pre-recording, like you said, before they even started recording. They're like, we're getting this out of you. We're gonna make you say that again on the show.
Right. And it was like, yeah, she probably had a conversation and she said something there, looked at each other like, we're gonna get her to say this on the show. Say the trigger word. What's the
Trigger
trigger?
attention.
Get her triggered, and then she goes right into it. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, you got to have understanding. It seems like, which I wouldn't expect Steph to try to make it not look like a big deal and just come out and support his wife, which is cool. But you know damn well in that locker room they are clowning the fuck out of Steph.
Yeah, like they're probably all acting like Aisha, and like whenever Steph comes in the locker room, Clay Thompson's like, "Oh, pay attention to me, Steph."
Or being like, give me the numbers, I'll hit her up and tell.
Just
They're just
give
dragging
me
his
Aisha's
ass.
number. I'll text her.
Yeah, they're just dragging him. It probably died down now, but but let's go into this. This is one of the deeper parts that I got to is was, what if Steph is like, people always think that people like they get, maybe it's like a basketball player, a football player is making a lot of money, that the female is like leeching off of him, that type of
Yeah,
thing,
right.
you know. But what if, because Steph had two bad games when this came out, two bad horrible games that he doesn't have in the playoffs at this time in doing this. When that came out, what if Steph gets all of his energy and all of his grind from her?
Huh. That's interesting.
Like
So
she's
you're
like,
saying like he had two bad games when this all came out because he was just like, man, like she's got me fucked up right now.
yeah, like she's not like, oh my gosh, like they might have had a talk about it, an argument, and it turned into, carried over to his playing. But in saying that, I'm just like, what if it, yeah, like what if it was, because they've been together since what, high school? What
Yeah.
if what if they never met? Would Steph be Steph?
I don't know, man. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
Me personally, like when it comes to like girlfriends and stuff, like I almost want one where like I can build with, like like
right.
because I mean like it's just stale if it's just gonna be the same old, like oh yeah, let's tongue in cheek, hang out, do this, do that. Like it's gotta be like, what do you want to do? What do I want to do? Let's do those things.
Right.
And like, having a girlfriend, maybe like Aisha, that maybe helps Steph push Steph to be the best basketball player he can be.
Just be the best person.
Yeah, the
You know
best
what I
person.
mean? Whatever you're doing, just be the best person. He might be getting that energy from it. Because that those are the one of the things that we talk, that I tell you that I believe in. Like, you meet certain people, it changes a part of you, or you know what I mean? Or whether it's you're learning something for them or you're getting something from them, like different people bring different parts of people out. Like you could be around a funny person all day and you're laughing, and that brings out your jokey side. But then, as soon as you leave that situation and you're all jokey, you might be coming around to talk to one of your more serious friends, and it turns you into, you know what
That
I mean?
right.
And you have the serious conversation. So basically, your day is like all up and down, and then. But when you have that one person like building, yeah, you definitely, you don't want somebody where you're giving, one person's giving all the um energy, like it's just, you know what I mean. You got to have that type that matches what you do. It doesn't mean that they have to like everything that you like. They
Yeah.
just match the energy of it. Like they're teaching you new things, they're okay with learning what you do, they know when to give you some kind of space, that type of stuff.
Yeah, and that also goes back and forth. Like it works the same way. They're giving you that energy, and you give it back. You
Yeah, we're
know.
gonna be a Dr. Phil. We're gonna get some. We're gonna be relationship experts. We're gonna
You know.
put out a video of that.
Yeah.
Let
Right. Well,
get some people on.
yeah.
Get Aisha and Steph.
I have a couple theories on relationships and stuff. Like I have a couple, like that would probably make dating a better um,
Oh, you're gonna
experience.
fix the
Yeah, I'm about to be like Doctor Love, bro. I'm about to become like Doctor Love.
think
But
big, damn. That's what I'm talking about, damn. You said, I think I have a couple things that'll make the dating situation better. Think big. We're gonna market this. What are they?
yeah,
Give me our,
Devin's like I it's funny is I actually went and bought a producer course online the other day. It was like a $60 course or whatever from God, I can't remember the dude's name. Just like I can like learn some things in FL Studio like drum rolls and like like line up your 808s and kicks and stuff. And I was just thinking about it, like this guy's like, he's just on YouTube and he produced a couple tracks and he has like teaching courses. I could just start putting out a dating course,
you want to?
Yeah, just start putting out a dating course and be like, hey, everybody in the comments, let me know if you take a dev's dating course.
I
And
think
see,
mine would be more lit though, bro.
you would be
Yours would
more
be
lit,
too.
yeah. Mine would
Mine
be
would be
too. Mine would be
outside the
too.
box,
Mine would be
dog.
too feelings based. It'd be like, all right, how do you feel about this person? Like, are they worth it? I'm like, nah. You know,
You got it.
I'd have a couple theories, but yeah, you said something about Dr. Phil. I did want to bring this up
Mm.
because I watched the episode of Dr. Phil the other day for the first time in like ever
You
with
didn't
my
watch it.
sit.
Bring me out. Bring me. What? What was it? What's her name?
Huh?
Catch Me Outside. You didn't watch that one?
No, I never watched the full episode. I mean, I know where she
Uh,
was on there, but I watched the episode and it was like this dude was oh my god, what was it was like this dude was having sex with this 16-year-old girl and the parents were on the show and like they were just talking reckless. I mean, like the dad was about to go smack him and punch him upside the head, and the guy that was porking their daughter was like, "Did you?" And then Dr. Phil just he's just so nonchalant. And did you say that you would fuck her until she was pregnant?
they
And
were
you're like,
saying. Well, they weren't saying fuck.
fuck, no, he wasn't saying fuck, but I'm saying
Uh,
like that you would have sex with her until she was pregnant. And then he's like, I never said anything like that. It's just the whole show is just like, it's just like it's a carnival. It's a carnival of like these people, and like the daughter was like scaring me because like she looked not that she looked. Yeah, it was definitely how she looked because she like had like this deep, scary voice, and she just looked like she was just scary as a person. It's like, and in my head, I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, no wonder Dr. Phil is still on the air because he must have the best scouts, like better than NFL scouts for finding crazy wacko people. Like they
they're
the scout.
everywhere.
I mean, of course, they call into the show, like they request to be on and everything, but it still drives me crazy because they gotta be looking for these fucking people because you couldn't just fucking pick these people out and throw a fucking dart and hit them. Like they are in a specific spot. They are a find. You hear me? Like archaeological find. Like
I don't know, bro. There's some pretty like you could go outside and throw a rock and hit a guest to be on Jerry Springer.
Yeah, Jerry Springer definitely. But Dr. Phil, man, like that story was crazy. Like everything, the person, just the guy, the girl, the parents, like the whole thing was just wow. It was just weird. It's like, and you found these people, you know,
That's what it is, man. People love that crazy shit.
yeah,
They
they,
love to talk about. You want to know why? Because it's relatable. There's a lot of things that happen in people's lives. Everybody has some little secret in their family tree. You shake that motherfucker, something's coming out.
right.
Some weird shit.
Yeah, bad fruit, bro. It was a bad fruit, rotten fruit.
and
But
and they're either saying, and they're either being like, "Oh, see, we're not that bad," or they're saying, "Holy fuck, we're worse than this."
yeah. Or I was gonna say, or there's people that just have lives that are so boring. They're just like, yeah, like this is
Yeah,
my
that's a
entertainment.
percentage.
You know, they come home from their 9 to 5 and they're like, I'm gonna watch Dr. Phil.
Or you'd be the same, the stay at homes. Moms
Stay,
used to
stay.
watch like day. That's what daytime TV
TV
was
is.
made for.
It was for the stay-at-home moms. Yeah,
Staying home
moms.
moms. Now moms are out there grinding. By the way, happy belated to all the mothers out there. Happy
Happy
Mother's
belated
Day
Mother's
yesterday.
Day.
And that's what it was built for. Now I don't know what goes on. Well, Dr.
Daytime
Phil comes
TV's
on at like 5 though, right?
daytime TV is now for the old people,
Oh,
the old cats, and once the old cats are gone, their TV's gonna go away. I think TV's done.
that's another thing too. Just before we get out of here, one more interesting thing. The guy, I can't remember his name, the co-creator for Facebook.
Uh,
He finally came out the other day, and this hasn't been out too much. I caught it on a humbug. Um, he came out and said that Facebook really has a lot of power. That's why he sold his stock back then. He said he knows where it's going. Like he steps ahead of it, and he thinks Zuckerberg should step down and should have some kind of oversee it. He thinks the government should get involved. I'm like, wait, what's going
that
on
sounds
here?
scary, bro.
Yeah, like
But it is though because like I said, we talk about the ad things, man. Like crazy shit. Okay, so like, hold on, I'm gonna tell you this story. I have a coworker at work, right? I got his number the other day for like text or whatever, and randomly Facebook just says, "Hey, you know this guy?" And it's like, for one, I never posted that I work at Lowe's. Like never posted it anywhere. I never told nobody. All I have is a dude's phone number, and you're gonna be able to take the numbers, like, you know, the phone number, and be like
Match
able
it
to
up.
be like, yeah, like you and him, like you guys should be friends, right? It's like that's insane. Like that's creepy to me. Like, you know, that someone has that access to me. Like they can just suggest shit and like, you know, I'll be talking about somebody and then their friend request will pop up or something like on Facebook, and it's like how did you know to suggest this person to me? Like, do you know what I mean? It's
Like,
like,
how deep is it what they're looking,
dude, I'm
listening, and
telling you, they
looking?
tap phones. I'm telling you, they tap
They
phones. Like,
got to.
they gotta be
They
tap
got
phones and
to.
listening to your conversations, like who you're talking to, and then being like able to sell that to, like, you know, the information or whatever, or use that. Like they hear that name or something, they're able to just put it on your fucking screen.
I think freaking Zuckerberg's gonna turn into the wizard.
The wizard, some fucking
But
Matrix.
yeah, he's gonna be up there puppet master. He probably knows all the power that that he has, and he's just setting up for his world
Zuck,
domination.
yes, Zuck is no Zuck. Literally is one of the lizard people that lead the Illuminati. He is. He is.
He's one of
He's
them.
he's the Zuck
He's
is
AI.
the lizard person. The
He's
lizard.
AI.
He's AI. He is an AI lizard person.
Lizard.
Artificial intelligent lizard person that is coming to
Oh, they're
take
gonna
all of our.
shut us down, bro. We're on here talking. You know his name's got a tag on it.
Yeah,
You
as soon as they
say
hear
his name.
Zuck, this video is getting banned. We're gonna premiere it tonight, and it's getting banned.
He's got a whole building full of people that just are looking for every time
Zuck,
his name comes up.
Mark
What they say?
Zuckerberg or Zuck. What do you
Ben,
say about him? Get rid of him.
Ben.
This video, everybody that watched this video, they need to leave a like, and we need to get this thing trending again, because obviously the algorithms now, because we said his name and we made a conspiracy about it, this video is not even gonna get 100 views just
Yeah, it's
because
gonna
of
go
that.
down.
I tell you, watch.
It is.
We'll
It
see.
is what it is, man. I like it. It's a free market. Anybody can come up with these, and it brings on the question: what are people going to do that are banned from these sites? And is there enough people to for them to feel it if
Yeah,
they walked away to another site?
yeah. I don't know. I think there is. It'd be one of those interesting conversations to have for another day.
Right.
But you don't have anything else you got to say, Coach?
Nah, that's stay blessed, everybody, and
Love your
what you do.
mama. Love your mama. But
Yeah.
as always,
Uh,
Dev, Coach B, we out of here. Have a blessed day. Stay beautiful. Take care of yourselves. See ya. Late ski.